Oh no! Generic control in the deck goes me. Here back with another Caddicarus video. Today we're doing I'm Sorry, which I'm not sure what he is sorry about, but this video happened 3 years ago. Maybe it has to do something with him and Bricks and the child Brick that they have now. But the last video I did was, I believe, the expensive launch of the PS5, I want to say. You can check my reaction to that. I'll leave it right up there. Also, link down below in the description. Also, to plus my channel, all my other Caddicarus videos. Go to chronological order if you want to binge watch through all of them. But maybe it has something to do with him and Bricks and the child. It's a shorter video, which is rather surprising, but shout out to the people watching this video on Saturday. I'm recording this video on the previous Saturday, where I just streamed to Crash Bandicoot and got absolutely trolled by the bridge level, which hopefully I'll be able to make like a short or something. I post the VODs of that on the gaming channel on Tuesday, so you can definitely go check that out as I'm playing through Crash Bandicoot 1 for the very first time in the entire franchise, which has certainly been an experience. I'm not sure what he's sorry about. I'm actually really curious. Also, Renegade's cameo, what's going on? Shout out to the patrons. I wouldn't be able to do this if it was not for them. They get all the videos a day early. I could not do this. I seriously could not do this, especially right now in January. This is the worst January I've ever seen on YouTube. I could not do this if it was not for the patrons. $3 a month to get you all my reaction videos a day early. You don't see a ton of ads in the videos. You also don't see brand deals on the channel. There's no paywalls on the channel, and I couldn't do this without the patrons. So shout out to them, and it's all because of them. So shout out to them. And I'm actually really curious. So let's go ahead and jump on into I'm Sorry. And also let me know what the next video should be.
Hello. If you don't know me, I'm Caddy. Nice to meet you. And if you do know me...
Is this all animated?
I'm sorry. You see, back in December 2020, I uploaded my final video of the year and then decided to take off some time in January to hang out with my girlfriend.
As you should, because January is terrible.
Virtual schoolwork, start construction on an outdoor studio and green screen and do some streaming to tide everybody over until my next video was ready to release in February. But there was just one thing stopping me from doing this. My gaming laptop was starting to struggle a little bit with streaming and recording gameplay footage for the next video, which meant I needed to do something about it. What I didn't realize, though, was that this single decision would start the biggest domino chain of pain I've ever seen in my entire video.
Did you try to clone a hard drive?
Where every single
That's your boot drive?
sent a shockwave of bad luck across my life that was so huge I was left a quivering old man begging my grandchildren to come and see me. Completely unaware that they were all dead because I killed them and I just forgot about it because I'm old. Yes, ladies and gents, I needed to
build a PC. I've built
it was horrible.
5 PCs.
It sucked. I don't understand the appeal. I never want to do it again in my
What?
life. And this is now how I feel about PC gaming. What? But Caddy...
What's the problem?
Could you even say that? PC gaming is bliss. PC
no, it's not.
gaming
No,
is the
no,
way.
no, it's
PC
not. It's not.
gaming
It's not.
Pretty
It's not.
cool. And you know what?
God,
that
no,
may
it's
be
not.
true.
I hate
I love
PC gaming.
In fact, I do it more than consoles, and I do them on the regular. But as you will soon come to see in this video, the process of me getting to that nirvana was not without a few cuts, bruises, tears, blood, lost fingers, and broken dreams. This video's title is not clickbait, and everything you're about to see and hear is 100% true. You want to know the reason there hasn't been a video from me in months? It is all because of this confounded infernal thing.
Is that a
it has
disk drive?
caused me so much grief and so much stress on top of everything else that's happened to me over the last few weeks. I just had to turn lemons into lemonade and make a video talking about all of it together for my own sanity, if nothing else.
Okay.
Yes, this lolloping great dishwasher has given me enough content for a goddamn storytime video. PC building sucks. I'll say it, and I don't care if I'm in the minority on this. None of this
doesn't.
PC building is just like adult Lego.
It is. There's like 12
parts.
Remember
the last time you spent £2,000 on one leg of a bionicle?
2,000? My graphics card is more than that.
£900 face. Building a PC was one of the most stressful, time-consuming, and expensive things I've ever done. And this isn't even including the issues I've had with time and finances of trying to get the studio set up,
and he's doing
the other PC problems I've had unrelated to this build that have left me totally unable to create anything. All I wanted was to make nicer videos for all of you. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself here.
Upgrade,
I don't recommend building PCs because they're shit, actually.
Last year I had to replace my RAM because it broke, and I had to replace my
13th of January.
boot drive.
Alone in my house. Well, actually,
had
I wasn't
to clone.
alone, but I live with children, so I wish I was. And I realized I had no idea what I was doing when it came to building a new PC.
Did you watch the video by The Verge?
Very good friend, Low Spec Gamer, who's from Spain, which means he likes paella. This dude, by the way, is a master when it comes to PCs and PC building. His whole YouTube channel is about running the latest games at the lowest specs possible. So everything that happens in this story is not his fault. Anyway, we started talking and I described exactly what kind of PC I needed to build and at what budget, so that he could tell me which parts would be
what
best.
Did he get? This is 3 years ago.
What,
I should
and then
know.
point me in the right direction on where to buy it all.
Issue 1.
In this current climate, finding any PC
took me
parts
7 months
all
to get a
is harder
graphics
than
card
pissing into
every
your
day.
own mouth. Our initial
For 7
idea was
months.
to build a PC with an NVIDIA RTX 3080.
Yep, that was what I was trying to get.
Ryzen
Couldn't get one, so I got a
5950X processor,
3080
Asus
Ti.
Prime X570p motherboard, Corsair Obsidian 750D case, 850-watt power supply,
need
2
probably
TB
more for
solid-state
3080.
drive, Blu-ray drive, Noctua NHD15 cooling fan, and 32 gigabytes of Corsair.
That's fine.
All of these parts weren't too difficult.
It's actually kind of comparable to mine.
But the 3080 and Ryzen 9.
Yeah, his CPU is a lot better than mine.
I spent around 3 to 4
We have similar
days
motherboards.
checking every reputable website I could every single hour to see what the stock situation was like. Because don't forget,
7
boys and
months
girls,
doing
don't
it
trust
every
stock
day.
alerts. Use your clock alerts or else you'll regret it to let it. I managed to grab myself the processor, but the graphics card was just not available anywhere.
Yeah, 3080s were
The
gone.
only place
They never showed up.
Scalpers on eBay who were selling a £650 graphics card
for way more.
around £1,700.
I bought mine through Best Buy for
bollocks if I was giving that to any old job. It was coming up to the 19th of January, and there was still no sign of any 3080s after a week of searching. So with time running out for me to start
3080 was
streaming
super
again and
limited.
start recording the console footage in time for my February video, I made the decision to start looking for the next graphics card up, the 3090. Not only way more powerful, but more importantly, it retailed for basically the same price brand new as the resellers' prices of the 3080.
What does a
Plus,
3080
since it's
Ti
more
retail
expensive by
for?
default, it was a
Mine's
little
an
bit
Asus
easier to
card.
find, and so within a day, I had all the parts I needed on the way.
Issue 2.
All of this is bloody expensive. Before doing anything, I had already spent £1,700 on the 3090, £800 on the Ryzen 9,
Ryzen 9,
on the motherboard, £140
I think I have a Ryzen
on
7
the case,
3800X.
£150 on the power supply, £320 on the 2TB SSD, £100 on the Blu-ray drive, £80 on the fan, £170 on the 32GB.
Dedicated wham.
Yeah, I just had to buy new RAM because
monitor,
the Magic
and
Nova video
£10
kind of
on
broke
additional
it.
cables and anti-static bands for my hands. Otherwise, if I touched any of these parts during the creation of the PC, I would have turned into a hot air balloon. This already totaled to £3,780. For all of you Americans out there,
that's more than my car.
you can convert it yourself. So there we go. I found all the pieces. They were all shipping
That's
as
more than
fast
my
as
car is
they
worth.
could, and the PC would be up and running in a few days' time. What could possibly go wrong?
A few days, dude.
Immediately
do it
the
in a
next
day. Do it
I
in a
got
night.
sent
Do it
the
in
wrong
a couple
disk
hours,
drive.
an hour or
Instead of a
two.
loose writable Blu-ray drive, I was given a portable DVD player. I'm not kidding. I quickly got all of that squared up and sorted with Amazon, after which I got what I actually ordered 2 days later. But then there was something else. The cooling fan I ordered on the 15th was supposed to get to me on the 20th,
Let's see
but
what
it never
Noctua.
arrived. And after tracking it to see what happened, I discovered that not only was the parcel never even sent out, but it actually was sent out, and was sent immediately back to the sender because I refused to accept the delivery. None of this added up, so I called the company and basically asked, so...
What happened?
where's my fan? And I was told on the other end that because of the European company I ordered from were physically unable to get it past customs. The fan never even left the continent it was coming from and got sent back to their warehouses straight away.
So why was it updating the website?
No big deal. I ordered the fan from another site, and a few days later it arrived, along with the graphics card, and slowly but surely, everything else. The 24th rolled around, and it was time to jump on a webcam with Low Spec Gamer and build the thing. Considering this was the first time I'd ever built a PC entirely on my own, it did take a few hours, but the first day went surprisingly well, with me pointing the camera at different places of the motherboard, and Low Spec Gamer talking about how much he loves eating tortilla dip packets. I managed to plug everything into the right slot, screw everything into the right place, glue the cooling system to the processor with thermal paste, while making sure I was wearing
that's an aftermarket
bands,
cooler.
Otherwise all of these immensely expensive components can break immediately if you so much as touch it. Isn't that a kettle of fish? And we managed to get to a point where everything was installed and plugged into a monitor, but it was all sitting on top of the box the motherboard came in, outside of the PC case, just in case something was wrong with any of the parts before we committed to putting it inside the case. I turned the power on by short-circuiting the motherboard with the end of a screwdriver, which was horrifying. Lots of pretty glowing fans started glowing and fanning. We managed to get a signal up on the monitor. The BIOS
I guess he's testing to make sure everything works.
And none of my USB keyboards or mice were working. For all of those unaware, the BIOS is basically the central nervous system of the PC and dictates how it turns on, off, and what settings the entire
how hard is
PC
to break
uses
RAM?
at its absolute base level. So yeah, a pretty important shit that I couldn't access. We spend the
In the
rest
past
of the day
year, I had to replace
multiple forums online,
a hard disk drive, a mouse, and RAM.
The skeleton of the PC connecting all the parts together was unable to read the 32 gigabyte of data I had purchased, and that was conflicting with the USB device reading, meaning no keyboard and mouse, meaning we couldn't get any further. So we both come to the agreement that I should order a smaller single stick of 8 gigabyte RAM that was from the official motherboard compatibility list, even though the other RAM should have been compatible with it anyway, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, when is RAM not compatible as long as it's the right form
It'll all be
factor?
here tomorrow. We'll revisit it in the morning. Then I went to sleep, and I dreamed of being awake. Then I woke up. The RAM arrived later that afternoon, and me and Low Spec Gamer jumped on another call to test it all out. And
could he not call Linus?
Wasn't having any of it. So then we move on to the next theory. Could it be the SSD? Is that a little bit damaged? Is that bad? Shall we try?
Oh, you don't want to deal with.
That's a great idea. No. As it turned out, after another entire day of troubleshooting online, it turned out that the BIOS software itself was too outdated for the ultra-powerful processor I was using to run it, and the only way that I could update it was to unscrew the processor, clean all of the thermal paste off of it and the cooler, boot it up with an older generation processor that was screwed and pasted in, get into the BIOS screen.
Yep, that was a known issue.
Turn it all off, unscrew the older gen processor, clean all the thermal paste off of it and the cooler, put the one I meant to use back in, making sure it was
not a common issue.
And then we could continue on, set up the BIOS, and then stick it in the case and install Windows 10. By the way, in order to do any of this, I needed to wait another day because I needed to order an older gen processor, the only one available at the time being a Ryzen 5 2600 at £160.
Ow, why is that expensive?
After my original processor was put back
it's weird watching a video that I'm this knowledgeable about.
Got into the BIOS, and voila, we were good to go. So it was now time to unplug most of it, stick everything into the case, and plug all the other necessary cables in, while Low Spec celebrated with some pantumaka. Again, it took me over an hour, seeing as it was my first time, and I was doing it over camera, and I was being careful, but I eventually made it.
Cable
so I plugged in
management.
the power supply, hooked everything up to a monitor, pressed the power button, and nothing.
Oh, well.
Absolutely nothing.
Also, he only has
no glowing,
one
no
storage.
Whirring, not even any fan.
I have like
the whole thing was dead.
7 or 8 terabytes of storage on my computer.
I was destaticked, everything was in the correct place and
full most of the
connected.
time.
No screws were too tight or too loose. There was no metal touching the underside of the motherboard that was causing a short circuit. It just wasn't having any of it. So what do you think I had to do? I uninstalled everything. We took it apart piece by piece from the case
I had to
and
do
set
this
it back
a
up
couple
how
times
it was
last year.
when it was a naked lump of mechanical organs. And that's when we discovered something terrifying. No matter what we did, no matter what switch we flicked or motherboard pin we shorted with the end of a screwdriver, including those pins that reset the motherboard and the BIOS, the motherboard itself was absolutely fried. No power was going to it at all.
Oh, so you got a bad
and
motherboard?
It wasn't the power supply either, because I did this trick where you put a bent over paperclip into different ends of a wire that's connected to it, and then you turn it on to trick it into working. It was really scary, and my house nearly burned down. So at this point, there was nothing else I could do other than order another motherboard. This time going for an MSI MEG X750 Unify at an extra £260.
I think that's the exact motherboard I have.
An advanced model with actual power and reset buttons.
I don't have that one.
I didn't need to short with a screwdriver just to be safe. Side note: at this moment in time, my
I
partner Caddicarus' work laptop for editing videos on Patreon and doing schoolwork with the kids
MSI
MPG to break, as programs kept randomly opening and closing, seizure-inducing effects played the screen whenever opening a file, and eventually any mouse you plugged in refused to work, including the touchpad one, meaning that we not only lost all of our work for a Patreon-only video that needed to be done by the end of January, but also meant that Karis had to take my backup gaming laptop for all of her work, meaning that I had no choice but to get this problem fixed, or I had no way of recording or streaming anything at all. January 31st rolled around, and I was already fully accustomed to the inner workings of my PC. In fact, I knew it better undressed than in clothes, and I was able to unplug everything from the old motherboard and install it into the new one with no help from Low Spec Gamer at all.
Oh, really? Because you reached out to somebody else?
Everything worked for me, so I thought, hey, I'm
This is
gonna
why
give it a
IT people
shot.
are
paid
so much money.
Put the PC inside, screwed, plugged, switched it on, and oh my god, it finally works! Hallelujah! We even managed to install Windows on it and everything when he joined in on a call later on that day. Sure, I needed to buy a single key for Windows 10 Pro for an extra £20, but who cares? It's all working now. Everything's installed. Time to get all of my programs I need and start setting up for streams.
Just say Windows 10 Pro. Why?
February the 3rd creeps up. I'm already days behind on this video, but I'm plowing through regardless. Until That happened. All of a
What
sudden,
happened?
I'm physically unable to do anything at all because the damn computer won't stop randomly cutting power entirely and then rebooting like nothing happened. And I don't mean like Windows was going into a shutdown or restart sequence. I mean the entire
power supply
system
issue?
just seemed to cut all power and boot right back up again. This happens so frequently that this was the crash log I sent to a few friends of mine after only the first 3 days of use. And the worst thing was that Windows wouldn't tell me anything about these crashes.
They don't tell
there
you.
Were no causes listed, no values or error numbers. It would just run along like
there's a problem. I can't tell you what it is, but there's a problem.
Error codes, but there was also no consistency or pattern behind what was happening. I could be playing Neo at maximum 4K 60 FPS settings for over an hour and be totally okay, but as soon as I opened up my emails, goodbye! It would crash when I was writing documents, crash when I opened Chrome, crash when a YouTube video loaded, crash when I opened Windows settings.
I had the same issue blue screen because of my RAM.
Closed Steam, crash when I started recording gameplay footage, crash when I stopped recording gameplay footage, but it never happened reliably all the time. It was absolutely
also
random
crash while I was
exporting
videos,
I had every single graphics driver updated, Windows itself was fully updated, even the BIOS was fully updated, but no dice. I was at the whim of the black screen.
Which sounds like a pretty epic episode of Black Mirror.
And so, with no leads to go on, we now had to deal with the best bit of PC building diagnosis. Taking every single piece out again, testing them for damage, seeing if they work individually, and process of eliminating our way through each component until we had an assumption of what could be causing
they
this
sometimes work.
cut,
So you have
First,
you
we
have
thought
to
that
get
the
them to
motherboard
fail.
reset switch was being activated by accident, since the crash reboots behaved identically to if I would have pressed the reset switch. Turn it off, open the case, unplug the reset switch, everything works for 3 hours, crash. Next up, we thought that it could have been the graphics card and processor were just too powerful for the 850 watt power supply, and I was getting dangerous surges, meaning the computer turned itself off to stay safe. So in that scenario, I ordered myself an Asus 1000 watt power supply
That's much
for
better.
£180 just to be safe. 2 days later, it arrives, so I dismantle the PC,
I don't even know what mine
rehook
is.
every power cable imaginable to the new power supply, and switch the cables over just in case they were the problem, put it all back together, booted it
Weren't
up,
they having
and
a problem
then,
with the cables?
Oh my god, we've now got nothing on the screen at all. And even better, a nice red light lit up on the motherboard. What on earth could this mean now? Actually, as it turns out, it's because one of the GPU plugs was a little bit loose. That was my fault. I'm really sorry. But hey,
that's
we're
one
back.
of the
No
2
problems
pins.
here, so
It's
it
like
was
a 2
time for
plus
me to
6
record
pin.
more gameplay footage. I managed to get about 4 hours done, and as soon as I clicked stop recording after a 45-minute recording session, it crashed again. Meaning I lost all of that footage entirely, and the problem still wasn't fixed.
My
Next
4-hour
up, we
Magic
thought
of
it
Noah
could
video.
possibly have been a bad batch of since all of these crashes seems to happen during certain programs loading that are heavy on RAM usage. So I ordered yet more 32 gigabytes of RAM from HyperX instead of Corsair, adding another 190 pounds to my expenditure for the evening. Next day, I took the PC apart, uninstalled the processor by unscrewing it and cleaning the paste again because the cooling system was too big and covered all the RAM slots, swapped the RAM out, repasted and screwed everything back in with the processor and the cooling, booted up Windows, go to open up my streaming software Streamlabs OBS to see if I can set it up for a
Streamlabs is actually screwing me up right now, actually.
I know. It's also around this time that my office
Their
PC,
alert
where
boxing
I
is
create
not
all of my
working
videos,
for me.
write them, edit them, and all of that jazz, started making this noise whenever I used it. For any non-PC experts out there,
sounds like a hard drive.
Be doing that. And the video output socket started
But he doesn't have a hard
breaking,
disk
meaning
drive.
I had no dual monitors, altogether meaning that video editing for me would be impossible. So, do you know what that means? Yes, I need another office computer. And even though I have enough spare PC parts here to build another one from scratch and put wheels on it so I could race it in NASCAR,
At
I
Martinsville?
Like I was cursed,
Hold
so
up.
I decided
Why
to
Martinsville? The shortest track that I've been to
pre-built.
dozens of
Then I
times.
find myself
maybe.
a pre-built one online, and it fits all the specs that I need.
I've literally
Stick it in the
walked on
website
that start-finish
basket,
line.
Go to the checkout, pay extra for next day delivery. The next day comes.
That's a beefy.
And nothing arrives. Okay, fine, I get it. The virus is still out there, deliveries aren't as quick, so I left it another day. And still,
It didn't show up.
nothing arrived. As quick as a flash, I checked
gonna be
in on the
Brexit
status
stuff.
of my order on my online account and discover that it hasn't even left their warehouse yet. So I decided to call them up and go,
What?
"Hey, assholes! What have you done with my bloody perk?" Okay, I didn't say that. Be nice to retail employees during a pandemic, you dick. And that's when...
Well, just in general.
That's when I was told that
Not
the
just
pre-built
during a
model I
pandemic.
ordered wouldn't be ready until the following month. So then I asked, then why did your website tell me it was in stock and would be here tomorrow? And then they said... Obviously, I understand and sympathize with all of these companies trying to work during the corona, but unfortunately, that's just too long of a wait for me to keep YouTube happy with the state of my channel, and I wasn't told it was going to be a month late until I chased the company myself, so I cancelled that order before the money could be taken out my account and spent the rest of the day looking everywhere for a PC that meets my specs and wouldn't take 4 years to get here, which I eventually find after only 3 hours of searching, and the quickest way it would get here was a week from then, which isn't ideal and puts my video work behind even more, but whatever, it's the best I can do at that moment. By the way,
it's not going to go that way.
Shipping, that added another £2,600 onto
oh,
my special
dude, that's so much money.
Go for double jeopardy and risk it all for a brand new Toyota RAV4. Oh, and by the way, add on the cost of two
that's
other
literally more than
since the ones I was using before
my income for a month
around the edges and needed to be scrapped. But the new monitors got here and they turned out to have the worst possible black coloring I've ever seen in a monitor. Yes, I went into every setting imaginable for my computer and the monitors themselves and couldn't improve it, meaning that for video editing they were absolutely useless, meaning I had to send them back and order even more that were good. And the funny thing is, the reason I ordered these particular monitors was because they were the same company that made the other monitor that I'm using for the PC that I'm building myself,
same company.
Which I know is a great monitor. But when
I have
got that
Samsung
monitor,
Odyssey
that was the last one in
G5s.
stock, meaning that I got another model of monitor from that company in order to get it to my house quicker. And taking aside the money I spent for the first monitors, because I'll get a refund very shortly, these dual monitors alone added on £300 to my total.
Wait, he spent £300 on 2 monitors?
The first PC yet.
He's spending that much money and that's all he spent on monitors?
Stumped. So I was taking hints and tips from basically anybody on social media because nobody had any damn clue what was going on. Then my friend Devi Brown suggested I buy myself a £15 wall socket tester to see if there were any wiring problems in the wall where my PC was plugged in. Spoiler alert, there was no problem.
Also, he's plugging it directly into a wall, not into a surge protector.
Try my old PC's one, which I did, and that didn't fix the problem. Someone else suggested it was too much static electricity around the PC itself, so I moved it around the living room, and that didn't fix the problem. I tried benchmarking, temperature checks, power saving settings, BIOS tweaking, RAM speed altering, turning on XMP so the RAM dictates its own speed, letting the entire BIOS run everything automatically as it sees fit. But whatever I did, nothing worked. Oh, and get your birthday hats on and your party horns full of spit.
The fact that I've experienced this
the total amount of money
a handful of times
this day on sodding computers, £7,540, aka over $10,000. Add that in with the few thousand the studio space costed me during all of this, and together that brings us to a total of no winter coats for my children in the snow pounds and no dinner either pence. And that's when, all of a sudden, when all hope seemed lost, we hit a breakthrough. It's the 15th of February, and there's one error that we completely forgot to look into, which happened all the way back on the 3rd. And because it only popped up one time, and then we totally ignored it because it seemed to fix itself, we then thought, what if that was the problem the entire time? Windows hasn't loaded correctly. Oh my god, that means... that must mean...
It's a Windows
10 problem. Oh my god. All I need to do is format my drives, reinstall Windows, and the problem is fixed. Christ
formatting
almighty,
drives, doesn't that clear drives?
Delete the partitions,
or the partitions,
Start afresh. I've got a cool house, and you can tell it's cool because it's got brand new Windows. Yeah, that didn't work either, so I went to bed at 4:30 a.m. extremely pissed off.
That's it? 4:30?
I wake up late, a little bit groggy. I take a shower, and I say to myself, okay, sure, I've got a dodgy PC, so even though I can't record any more gameplay for now, at the very least I can continue scripting by watching the stuff that I've already recorded.
No, you can't.
And it dawned on me, and my heart lodged up into my throat.
What is the issue?
The PC, and in my haste and desperation with everything going wrong, in a brief moment of careless thought and overwhelming stress, I forgot to back up any of my video files. So I lost it all. 18 hours of recorded gameplay footage. Gone. Forever. I tried drive recovery and everything else you can think of, but nope, it all got lost. Which means, after all of this time, I've got half of a script finished, and I'm back where I began with everything else, but minus $10,000.
Oh.
PC building. You want to know where the hell I've
been? This is very uncommon.
Where my regular videos have gone? That is why. PC Master Race,
we're gonna have a resolution,
I'm
right?
Go and play a console. Oh wait, I can't even do that because my brand new Xbox controller that I just bought has a broken shoulder button. Screw this, I don't need any of this new shit. I'll play all of my games and edit my videos on the Nintendo GameCube. This picture is me. This
Wait,
is exactly me.
What is the problem?
This credit sequence audio that you're hearing right now, none of the audio that you've heard through the whole of this video, but just this ending portion here. The date is March the 9th, and literally about an hour ago, my office editing PC arrived with special thank you to Level Up Gaming, who, despite everything going on in the world right now and all the parts that
I don't know who that
you can't
is, but
find anywhere online and all of that stress and everything, customer service was phenomenal. Their delivery time was really quick despite everything that's been going on right now. So if you live in the UK, you want a PC
So did he like return the parts?
Gaming, their link is in the description below. I'm recording this audio, by the way, on the spare gaming laptop, which Keris is now using for Patreon video production and her own work with the school, with the kids and everything, with remote learning and such. As I speak, everything with the streaming and gaming PC appears to be completely okay. I think I've ironed out the kinks. I think I figured out what the problem is.
It's a pre-build. You shouldn't have much issues other than like updating stuff.
With a
maybe
couple
they
of
do that
streams
for
that
you.
I'm planning on doing later on, you'll be able to figure that out as well. You'll see with me the results of my labor, but either way, my office PC is more important because that means I can get back to making videos, and I have been able to start creating my newest Caddicarus video in the entire time while this video was being made. It is not the same video I was originally working on with the 18 hours of gameplay footage that I lost because I just couldn't bring myself to
fact that I've gone through this,
all of those games again. So I decided to start
I went through the same issue,
fresh video idea. I hope that that's
3
okay with you
times
guys. I'm
in
sorry that
2024.
it's taken so long. Thank you for your patience, but I'm sure you can understand why that is. And of course, this video would not have been possible whatsoever without the incredible work of the animator Boy My Life. That dude has been an immense machine. I have no words. I'm amazed with how the final product came out. And how quickly,
I was about to say, Caddicarus did not make this
do
himself.
All of his links to his YouTube channel,
Clash
his
of
social
Clans,
media, all of that stuff is in the description below. Commission him for things. Go and see the kinds of videos he makes. The dude is an incredible talent, and I mean, depending on what you guys thought about this video, maybe
I think it was good. Does he do another story time thing?
Series just talking about bits and pieces of life. I mean, I've got stories, and he can make them incredibly
apparently I have
to watch
interesting
as I talk about them.
stories,
So let me know
which is
how
weird
you felt
because
about this video in the
apparently
comments, and maybe we could work
not
together
human.
again in the future. And just before I go, a special thank you to every name that you have been seeing on the screen right now who have been supporting me on Patreon. And despite all of my painful updates and my agonizing apologizing,
they stuck with them, which is awesome.
Delayed and no videos coming out on any
That
front
reminds
and
me of my
they have
community.
Been there from day one, from scratch.
I couldn't do this without my
never
patrons.
left.
I really couldn't.
Just the most loyal, supportive,
really bad
Patreon supporters I could have ever wished for. And all of these names that you're seeing are people that have been supporting ever since January, ever since the start of the year, because I haven't had a chance to put them in credits or thank them in general until now. So,
I don't know what the next video is going to be.
That's why the credits are so long. This is 3 months worth of people that deserve a massive thank you. So yeah, there we go. Thank you everybody for watching this video.
Oh man,
and I will see you in the next Caddicarus very soon.
Wow. I did not expect this to be a PC troubleshooting or PC building troubleshooting video at all. I did not expect that. That's crazy. Literally, I want to say in July, I started to swap over my old hard disk drive that I had from 2016 when I built my very first PC. I kept that was my boot drive. I booted up Windows on that. It was like a 2 terabyte Seagate Barracuda, and it lasted me I think it was having some issues. I want to say it was part of the issues, or it was slowing down or whatever, because still spinny disk drives. And I later on got a 3 terabyte that wasn't my boot drive. It was like a Seagate Barracuda 3 terabyte, and that was fine as well. I got that like a year or two later, I want to say. But then I was like, in July came around, I was like, you know what? Let me just get I want to say it was like a 4 terabyte, 2.5 inch SSD, just because they're more reliable, and they're not spinny disks. They're not moving parts. They're not going to break. They're going to keep my data safe. And then I had to go through the whole cloning Windows over to a boot drive, and this stuff takes forever. And because the files were corrupted on some of the parts of my original boot drive, it corrupted Windows. So when you like booted up Windows to the new hard drive that was supposed to be my new boot drive, it didn't work correctly because it was still trying to launch off corrupted Windows because it wasn't able to transfer over. And then I had to like work with Windows, and oh dude, it was just an absolute nightmare. My ex-girlfriend's dad is an IT dude, and he came and talked to me, and we worked together because he was also completely lost, and he has like decades of year in the IT field, and he was also completely lost, and I was completely lost. So me and him together figured out like a whole list of things. Like I tried this, didn't work, then tried this, didn't work, and then it was like, okay, we'll do this, and if it does this, then do this. If it doesn't do this, do this. It's troubleshooting is, oh dude. And that was just in July. Meanwhile, I'm having to put out almost 900 videos a year and stream 4 times a week, and I do it all myself. Yeah. And then the Magic Noah video where the video corrupted, and I didn't know it corrupted because it corrupted in a way I've never known before because of my RAM. That happened in October, I want to say. And I had to go through a whole bunch of issues to fix that and troubleshoot what the problem with that was. Found that it was the video file corruption, which happened because of my RAM being broken, which is really hard to break RAM because RAM has no moving parts. Also, my mouse died at some point, which is crazy. And I had to go through that and figure out, okay, well, I guess I'm not putting out this 4-hour Magic Noah video that I spent the time to record, so that sucks. And then it was like, okay, well, I'm just not going to do that, and I need to look into getting new RAM. And I tried new RAM, and I couldn't get it to replicate the blue screens and the crashes and whatnot. I still couldn't get the video to edit or open up or move past, like, you know, the 12-minute mark of that recording session, which sucked. And then I got new RAM, which just plopped it in. It worked, everything was fixed, and then I had to deal with like the BIOS settings or whatever. But that was pretty cut and dry and simple there. This stuff only took me a couple of days to do, and then, you know, years and years ago I've had to deal with, you know, trying to get a graphics card, which was just an absolute nightmare, and all that fun stuff. So let me know if you've had anything similar to this. If you're on my Discord server around this time, I've, you know, reached out to people in the Discord server and asked for help to see if they've had any similar situations. But it seems like most of the time whenever somebody has computer issues, it's typically the first time anyone's ever experienced them in that fashion, from what I can tell. So same with Caddicarus. I still seriously don't know what the problem was or what was causing his issues. So please let me know in the comment section. I hope you're subscribed. You're watching this video on Saturday. I'll be streaming Crash Bandicoot. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. But until next video, take care and keep the music.
We were playing.